football. We're celebrating my final show on Drive, and what better way to do so than revisiting one of these show's most iconic moments. It's the time Jamie Carragher was listening and didn't like what I had to say about him.
Just phoned up on my way to training, listening to your show. Normally a good show until you start rabbiting on this afternoon about being a bit of a bottler. It'd be interesting to see if you've got any bottling. Come down to Anfield or Melwood and, say it to me and we'll see what happens.
I'd say it to your face and I'll say it to you now. I want to know why you're even...
Come down to Anfield on a Champions League game or whatever and we'll see them, won't we?
Yeah, we will.
You can say whatever. You can say these other players about them. Not a problem. Everyone's got opinions. That's football. Not a problem. McLaren's opinion if he plays someone else. Not a problem with him at all. But don't ever call me a bottler on radio in front of all thousands of people listening to you.
So why are you even thinking about quitting international football?
Because there's that many people who've played ahead of me. And as I said, I've got no... If he brings someone else, it's a game of opinions. But when you're at my age, they're all younger than me. They're all going to improve it to maybe I won't at that age.
But sorry, go on.
Hang on, what? Yeah. And I go to the Champions League final. There's not much more you can do in club football, obviously win it, but we've done that a couple of years ago. He played Ledley King, who is a top player, but he's been injured all season. So how would you feel in my situation there? What would you do?
I'd feel like proving myself and getting a stomach for the fight going and going for it.
Proving yourself? Yeah, that's what I'm 29. I've been doing it for 8 years, and obviously I haven't proved it enough. So it's not going to change now, is it? It's not as if I've just got in the squad and I've jumped out.
Great, wasn't it?
It really was.
See, but that's what you have done that to people very successfully over the years. Jamie, well, look, we're going to get him on. We're going to speak to him.
We will. He wasn't happy.
He
is with us now on Drive. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm a lot happier now than I was about 15 years ago when I first spoke to you.
That's the amazing thing. It was 15 years ago this month, and it's amazing how the time flies. People still go on about it now. They still talk to me about it. It's one of the first things they say. That's the impact you had.
No, to be honest, I mean, at the time I was saying I put you on the map, but how well your career's gone, how well you've done on Drive Time. I think you put me on the map, actually, how well you've done,
Well, I got you back in the England team, didn't I?
Yeah, you did actually. Yeah, you wound me up that much. I thought I'd better go on the phone to this Capello fella, see what he's about, and see if I can a few more caps. But you did your job anyway. I think your job from day one on this station has been to wind a few people up, and I was hook, line, and sinker.
Cara, tell us about that day. So you've been training, have you? You got in the car, and all of a sudden you switched it on. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, it was pre-season, and I think news had just. That I was going to go away with England. It wasn't official, but I think it came out in the newspaper. And we'd done the morning session at Melwood, Liverpool's training ground, and we were due back in about 5 o'clock for the second session. So I just jump in my car and put talkSPORT on, listen to the footy news, what's going on, and I can hear this debate, and I'm thinking, this is quite lively. And this fella's a butler. I haven't quite grasped that it's actually me. And then I find out it's me, and then I'm trying to get the number all the way to Melwood, and I think Aid was on with Mickey Quinn, who I know quite well. And as I just got into the car park, I'd finally got the number, phoned in, and Mickey Quinn phoned me back and said, "We'll get you," and he said, "Just don't swear, please."
Well, it was a lively conversation, there's no doubt about that. But one of the things you said in the middle of the call was that you invited me up to Liverpool to say it to your face, and me and Mickey actually came up to do a show at your bar in Liverpool, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we were on better terms by then, I think. So we come down, I think I give you the signed shirt, whether you've still got it, I'm not sure. And we've become friends ever since, haven't we?
Yeah, I think we have. And actually, the signed shirt, it was in a carrier bag. I think a Tesco carrier bag. You threw it at me as you walked through the door, and it is actually framed and hanging up in the house. And do you remember? I gave you something as well. Do you remember what it was?
Was it something Peterborough?
It was
a boxing glove.
No, it was a framed picture of you playing for England, but you're on the floor after being left for dead by Ronaldinho in a game against Brazil. I think you were playing right back.
Tell him to join the queue.
But actually, I think that was one of the reasons. If we go back to the reasons why you decided to quit international football, it's because you weren't getting in at centre-back. You kept getting stuck at right back, and you were going away to Kazakhstan and places and being on the bench. And I think it was You invited me to Anfield as well, and I came to a game. Liverpool beat Villa 5-0. Gerrard got a hat-trick, and everybody else was going off on international duty, and you came into the players' lounge, and you're with your family, and I suddenly thought, it actually makes a little bit of sense now. It transformed my view of it, because going away and sitting on a bench and training in Kazakhstan is fine, but if you know at the age of 29 you're not going to get in that 11 ahead of so many others, then you'd rather spend that time with your family. It was that game, after that game, that Villa game, that it started to make a bit of sense to me.
I mean, to be honest, a lot was made of it at the time, and it wasn't just about England, if I'm being totally honest. It was about Liverpool. I just love Liverpool that much, and I thought, I'm 29, I've probably got, 2 or 3 years left where I'm playing week in, week out. I was desperate to win the league or win another European Cup with the club. And I also wanted to be a one-club man. I never wanted to move. And I just felt, I think we had Daniel Agger and Martin Scape at the time, who were really good players, about 4 or 5 years younger than me. And I thought, well, when they go into international duty themselves, I'll be, fresh when they come back and they've played a couple of games. It gives me more opportunity to stay as a one-club man. So it was as much about Liverpool as England, if being totally honest. And, that's why I came to the decision.
Jamie, let's move on then to what's been happening pre-season. I mean, there's been some big games already, of course, and we've seen Darwin Núñez get up and running the other day. What have you made of Liverpool's pre-season, and how much sort of stock do you place against matches at this time of the year and the importance of them?
Well, I think it's easy to downplay them when they don't go well. I think we all know that. But I think when we've been players as ourselves, Andy, and we can say, the results mean nothing, because it'll all be decided on the first game of the season. If you win, it doesn't matter. If you get beat, well, you've taken your pre-season form into the season. But I think as a player or a manager, there's nothing better than winning and playing well and just building some sort of confidence. So I don't understand when they get written off, and I don't think we should get too carried away. But I think the closer we get to the start of the season and the manager starts playing what he would think is his first 11 in that first game, I do think players and managers do take a lot more stock in those results. And maybe not just the results. I think performance are probably more important than results in pre-season, and sort of building that sort of cohesion as a team and that feeling that you can, achieve something going forward. But we know results can be turned on the head, in pre-season and what goes on. But you can see the reaction of Thomas Tuchel, I think, after the Arsenal game, and I think Klopp was a little bit different after Liverpool lost to Man United. I think 4-0. It was probably slightly different. I think Liverpool had 3 teams that day, but I actually quite admired Thomas Tuchel's reaction. That you're still playing for Chelsea, you're playing Arsenal, and it's a big game. I know it's a pre-season friendly, but we shouldn't be getting beat 4-0. And I actually quite admired it, how seriously he was taking it, because I think they should. But as I said, I don't think we should massively get carried away, but I'm sure Thomas Tuchel and the players, we don't be getting beat 4-0 by Arsenal, 2 weeks before the start of the season.
What about Liverpool, Jamie, this year? Stronger than last time around? It's going to be difficult to go much stronger than the way they have been over the last few years. They've been outstanding, but can they get stronger than they have been?
I think that remains to be seen, and that's not sitting on the fence. I just think when you lose someone like Sadio Mane, who's been so pivotal for 4 or 5 years, and you're bringing in sort of an unknown quantity in Núñez, who looks a top player, he's got great pedigree, he's a great age, and Liverpool did need to bring the average age down of that front three, if you like, Salah, Firmino, Mane for so long, all just getting into the 30s, so someone was going to, move on sooner or later. So I think it's difficult to say they're stronger right now, considering how good Sadio Mane was, certainly the second half of last season. But I'm really excited to see how they evolve with Núñez and a real out-and-out centre-forward. Klopp's never really played with someone of that profile, so it'll be really interesting to see, the change in the dynamics of the team, and if it makes Liverpool better, who knows?
I'm intrigued by that, because there's my very basic logic on football, which you know very well, is Liverpool have lost Mane, City have acquired Haaland, so the gap is going to be bigger, isn't it? City are going to win the title by even more next season, aren't they?
No, I don't think so. And it's not that I still think City are favourites, but I don't think Haaland is a game changer for City in terms of winning the league, because they win the league now and they already get 95 to 100 points. I mean, are they going to get 110? With only so many points in a season. I think Haaland's almost the icing on the cake for the Champions League, in that if he's playing away in Madrid, they don't lose that game. They went, they're through to the semi-final, the final, and I think that's the difference that he'll make. I don't think he's going to make a huge difference to the league because City are that good anyway. I think when you look at what Liverpool did to catch City and get to that level of 90 plus points, they bought Alisson and Van Dijk. They were game changers. They took Liverpool from a team who got 75 points to a team now who are looking to get 95 points. I think City are already at that level, so I don't think it's going to be like that for Haaland. But you think with a striker like him and the players they have around him, it gives them a great opportunity in the Champions League.
And another thing, and give us your insight from being in dressing rooms with top players for so long. Mo Salah gets this massive pay increase and is clearly the highest paid player at the club. Somebody like Van Dijk, though, we've seen when he was out injured, that really affected Liverpool quite badly. I mean, I'm not talking about Van Dijk as a character or anything like that. And I'm not expecting you to comment on the dressing room now. But in your experience, would a player be looking at another player getting a big wage hike on a new contract and saying to themselves, hang on a minute, what about me? Is it likely to create problems that Jurgen Klopp's going to have to solve with some really skilled man management?
Well, Liverpool, going back to my day, have always been good payers. They've never been someone who didn't pay the market value or didn't reward a player. I know myself, if I was doing well, they came to me with a contract. It wasn't a case of me waiting for one. They always reward you when they felt, you deserved it. And I think Virgil van Dijk signed one 12 months ago, and he won't be going short, I can assure you. So, those two players are likely to be two of the best players in world football, two of the best sort of 4 or 5 players in the Premier League. And I think we all know in the dressing room there's certain players who do deserve the big bucks, and that's normally the strikers. I actually think Van Dijk's different in that he will be classed as one of the superstars of the league, even though he's a central defender. But I think when you've got a player like Mo Salah, who has scored more goals than anybody in the Premier League in the last 4 or 5 years, and is never injured, so you can never question what his attitude. He's always had it. I don't think there'll be too many problems in the dressing room, and they'll actually be delighted that they've got Mo Salah in the team because it gives them more opportunities of winning more trophies.
Yeah,
Jamie, always good to talk to you.
Great to speak to you, Jamie.
I will be doing a top 5 drive moments from my last 16 years. You may get another mention, possibly.
Another one. I better be top. My boxing gloves.
Well, not quite. We'll see. Jamie, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All the best, mate. And listen, well done. You've done brilliant, fantastic. Keep up the good work.
Very, very kind. Jamie Carragher, who 15 years ago this month set about me on the radio.
15 years ago, Carragher's come out the training ground, as he says, got in his car, just put a bit of, just, like everyone does on the radio, they put it on and then they're kind of listening, you're dipping in and out, you're not really with it, then all of a sudden you're going like, what?
He's talking about me.
Yeah, exactly.
It is. I have to say, over the years, that's been the subject that most people have asked me about, that particular call.
That one.
Yeah, absolutely. You can understand why.
How many people do you think you've had who are in the car on their own? Because, if you're in the car on your own, you don't really, unless you're singing along to a song, right? Unless you're singing, you're not sort of talking to yourself really out loud that much, are you?
Yeah.
You're thinking a lot and you're sort of, How many people do you think you've had who have screamed at the radio,
shouting at it,
and they're in the car on their own?
I've had a lot of people tweet me exactly that today. That they've been shouting at the radio non-stop.